Ladies and gentlemen, a few 100,000 people were affected by the SA closure. This is what I gathered from the ministerial speech that's made in Parliament, and I will give you some interesting insights that's never been seen before. So let's watch on. Today in Parliament, Manpower Minister Tan See Leng actually made a statement that revealed a lot about the special account CPF SA closure. Now, in short, there were 720,000 people affected in different degrees. And today I will cover the details of it. So let's just watch on. The backdrop of this video is that, about 2 weeks ago, in Parliament for budget, DPM Wongs actually announced that there will be no more special account for CPF members 55 years and above. And that caused a huge uproar in the 1965 community and also outside the 1965 community, in the media, in the press, in Meet the People session by MPs and things like that. So today, Manpower Minister actually responded to some of the queries made by the MPs, and he gave a lot more details which are very important for us to know. Okay, so let's watch. The top line of the news is that there are 720,000 CPF members, most likely above 55 years old, actually have money in their special account that can be withdrawn. So naturally, these are the people who got affected. But these 720,000 people is made up of different segments. So let's watch how the different segments work out. So we don't really know how many people were highly affected, okay, and how many people were mildly affected, or how many people were not affected until today. The message wasn't very easy to understand. The CPF policy is a complicated policy. And even after Minister made the statement, we were still very confused. It took me maybe listen to a speech about 5 times and double check with some of the 1965 experts to really understand what he actually mean. And forensically, we analyzed what he said and came to this conclusion. The first thing is that he actually said that 720,000 CPF members have funds in their special account that can be withdrawn with a median balance about $2,000. Now, that, first of all, median is a very abstract statistics. I will analyze it for you later with a graph, okay? But even the statement close to 700,000 CPF members with funds in a special account that can be withdrawn, it took me a long time to figure out what this means. And in fact, this came out in Channel News Asia, and we can't really tell until we analyze what this actually means. So this is what it actually means. So forensically, we actually do some search, and one of the 1965 community members actually told me this, right? There are about 1.4 million CPF members today. They are above 55 years old. So obviously, the pool of CPF members in Singapore is very huge, right? Multi-millions of them, because Singapore, has a population of close to 4 or 5 million CPF members, I would think, right? I don't know what's the actual number, but 1.4 million members are above 55 years old, and that could be referenced from a Channel News Asia. And basically, close to half of them, okay, have what I call excess special account money in their special account, which means that they probably have already met their full retirement sum, and the money got parked in the retirement account, and what is left over is what I call excess FSA, right? Money above the full retirement sum. And the interesting thing is that the minister actually said that the median of this group of people is $2,000. I was like, $2,000 sounds very little, no? Which what he's trying to deliver. So I was trying to analyze what does that mean. And after analyzing in super detail, double checking with certain people in their interpretation, I came out with this graph. I don't profess that it's 100% correct. I think ballpark should be there. So what it means is that, there are 720,000 CPF members with money above the FRS, which means that, the SA actually has real cash. They can withdraw anytime because they're above 55 years old. They can take out. Or most likely what they're doing inside is to live inside and compound at 4% interest, which is what everybody loves to do. So the median, which means that the midpoint of this distribution of 720,000 people, is roughly the 360,000. At this 360,000 mark, the balance is $2,000. Okay, it's $2,000. Now, most of us will conclude, then not a big deal, right? Well, not exactly. Not exactly. If you look at some of the statistics that he further reviewed, is that there are 720,000 members. The top less than 1%, 8,400 members, actually have so much money that even if they put in, into the retirement account up to the new ERS, which is 4 times BRS or 2 times FRS, okay, they will still have money that they couldn't transfer in. So this is what I call a CPF super rich, which I'll cover shortly in a while. But this group of people represents the extreme tail end of this distribution, and they have at least in their special account above 205,800. I use this year one. The right way is to look at next year one, but let's just use this year one because it's very difficult to make all these adjustments, which means that the graph looks like this, okay? There's an exponential graph going up, most likely it's an exponential graph going up, and then suddenly, it builds up to this. So what we're saying is that majority of the left side are not really impacted, okay? So from 0 to 360,000 plus some, which don't know how much of it is this side, okay, plus some, they're not really affected because $2,000 not really a lot. In fact, I think he made some comment is that something about $30 a year or something like that, but that's not important, right? Of interest. But what is really more important is this unknown number here, okay, which is, I don't know what's the number, but we know that this number is not trivial, okay? When I say trivial means not 1 or 2,000 people, more than even 10,000 people. I think this could easily be 1 or 200,000 people with a lot more special account that actually experience a loss of 4% risk-free interest that can be withdrawn anytime. So this group of people, they are marked in red here. We don't know how big this group of people. My guess is hundreds of thousands or maybe 200,000 people. They were lost about 1.5% because there's a 4% special account interest. They lost that because the special account has been closed, and they'll move it to the OA, or they may choose to put it into RA and lose liquidity. So this is is either lose interest or lose liquidity. So this group of people are affected, and the number we cannot tell, but the number is in I think it will be in at least 100 to 200,000 people. We don't know the actual number. We know that this group of people are affected. Okay. Now the minister did not cover this in the speech, but what he didn't cover is there are CPF members planning to use the special account for their retirement. They are currently below 55 years old, right? I'm one of them, plus a lot more people in the 165 community, plus a lot more people outside the 165 community. We know that part of our retirement plan, we are trying to fill up our SA as high as we can so that our retirement can be a very fulfilling one. Well, the ministerial speech did not cover this group of people, and I'm sure they are in hundreds of thousands of people as well, given that how popular right now the number of top-ups are year on year in the CPF, and that's why we have this thing. We have this. The government actually put attention into this. So my conclusion is that the number of people affected are definitely in the hundreds of thousands. I cannot put a number where is it 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. I cannot put a number to it, but for sure, hundreds of thousands of people are impacted by this policy, which explained why there was a huge outcry, in the press, in the media, in the 165 community, and so on, right? If it's trivial and tickle numbers, I don't think we will see such a big impact. Well, we got to help them in the 165 community. I take a personal interest to help everyone. So as I said, now I understand why is there such a huge uproar, because there are people in the red box that are affected. These are people with sizable SA balances above 55 years old, and there are people who are not yet 55 years old and planning to use the SA as a tool for their retirement. So all these people are kind of affected in a way. Minister Tan See Leng actually mentioned rightfully that these are the group of people generally with higher income. So I agree with that and I understand that, okay? A few fun facts as well, okay? Number one of the fun fact is that are you the top 1% of the CPF super rich? And what do you mean by CPF super rich? Okay. Well, according to Minister Tan See Leng, there are 8,400 people, which actually, if they top up they are up to their ERS, which is 4 times BRS right now, which is about $400,000, they still have excess money. This is what I call a CPF super rich, okay? I don't belong to that category because I haven't hit 55. So if I've hit 55, so yes, I will belong to one of them. But there are 8,400 of them. 8,400 of them. Now, given that they are above 55, so that means they're older than me, it must be that they already knew that the CPF special account was a mega get rich tool, and they started early and possibly even earlier when the 1M65 movement started. So there are actually people really know that, right? They tiam, tan lui, just make money and use the CPF dry, right? So I think, this group of people are, I would just say, know the system way earlier than I do. Actually made, as I said already, make their calculations correct and just whack their money young and early. Now, I don't think it's fair to say that these are people who are they are very rich. They're CPF rich, doesn't mean they're very rich. What they probably have, because this is the CPF. The CPF is not a system, you can easily game, because even though you are rich, the maximum you can put in is a limited number. The government has, put a cap to it. So these people actually started early and knew that the CPF special account was a way to get extraordinary risk-free return. So, these people are very smart. So are you one of the CPF super rich? The government has also officially made their position very clear on their CPF. CPF is not a get-rich tool, okay? I must confess that I've always promoted CPF as a get-rich tool in my early years because it's a wonderful compounding instrument. But those days, the CPF has a very poor reputation. At Hong Lim Park, there's a lot of people go shouting, return my CPF, return my CPF. And here comes Mr. Lu, as a white knight, telling the whole world that you all completely missed it. Right? It's such a great tool, and you all call it, a scam and things like that. So, then the world was divided. I still remember those days. I was being ridiculed as Mr. CPF. It's actually a bad name given to me then, right? But I've discovered that, and now 1865 is mainstream. Everybody knew that to the extent that the government also knew that. Well, anyway, the government has made it very clear that CPF is meant for the providence of basic retirement. It's not meant for extraordinary retirement, right? That you can do it, but outside the CPF system. So I think that's a very interesting position that is made clear to me. Okay, maybe it's all well clear, but it wasn't clear to me until today. During a media interview earlier, the Manpower Ministry actually described earning high interest on liquid fund, which is a special account, as a free lunch. So there's no such thing as free lunch anymore. So I think this is a position that government is taking right now and stem this problem. And as a result, I can understand, whoever is has been hoping for this so-called free lunch to continue. No more, okay, no more. It's also interesting to note that Dr. Tan has actually said that, no, I don't believe in having two groups of Singaporeans. One group of Singaporeans can grandfather this system, and another group of Singaporeans cannot grandfather this system. So I'm quite supportive, but although I'm actually, let's say, people are older than me, brothers or uncles or whatever, they grandfather the system, good for you. We grandfather so many systems, right? But I can understand where he's coming from, that, there will be people unhappy. It's just like in early days, right? The people could buy HDB and landed houses and condos at some ridiculously cheap price. Now we can't, right? So those days people can buy cars at cheap price. Now we can't, right? So Well, I'm perfectly more open to this, but I can understand why the government doesn't want this to continue. So I think we just got to accept it and just move on. All said and done, I know a few 100,000 of you guys were affected by this new policy in various degree. Some of them a lot, some of them a lot less. I can understand. I will just say this, okay? It's okay lah. It's okay lah. It's okay lah. Why I say is it okay lah? Because there are some pluses to this new system. The ERS is actually damn good. It's now 4 times PRS. I've shot a video that's gone very viral. I think close to 1 million hits right now by different source. You can actually, withdraw up. For me, I can withdraw up to $4,000 a month. If you live long, you could extract, maybe outsized return of north of $1 million or things like that by putting in $400,000. So I actually think that the new ERS, is also damn good. Some people don't like it because there's loss of liquidity. I understand. Up to 55 years old, that means from 0 to 55 years old, your special account interest is still at 4%, currently at 4.08%. It's still very high and it's still a powerful compounding machine. It's still compounding for me. That would kind of change when I hit 55 years old. For me, I will have to choose whether I want liquidity or I want higher returns for my retirement as a form of annuity through CPF Life. If I choose to take that path by putting money into the RA, don't forget I've taught you guys already, you could have some liquidity of 100 over 1,000. I think we calculated a number between 140 to $160,000. You could extract it out through a housing pledge or a 20% and a 20% withdrawal that's allowed by the system today. So it's not a complete loss of liquidity, right? So I think it's still okay. And always remember, there are alternative investments out there. I think the minister also said this today in the speech. And you could yield them, right? Today, I last checked my OA that was invested into the S&P 500 has yielded, super outsized return, right? That I would, even 4% compounding would take forever to reach that number. And I've always stressed that, there are more commercial products that are likely to emerge by all the financial institutions now knowing that a huge chunk of money is coming out. They will surely design products for you to grab. And I think the terms will be quite good. We did an interview with Endower's chief investment officer, and he actually alluded to some of the products that are already there and possibly they're developing some more products to catch this group of people, right? So I think we got a lot of time to wait, because from now till January 2015, there's still close to 10 months or so, right? So I think it's okay, right? It's okay. So in short, a few 100,000 of you are impacted, okay? Don't worry, there are alternatives. There are exit paths for us that are as comfortable, if not more comfortable. So at this juncture, let's move on from this topic and let's now focus on the stock market, shall we? So remember to check out all my stock market videos on recent days. It's a very exciting stock market right now, and that will give you a lot more outsized return. Thank you, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.